Yeah, good one. Cheers. Welcome in. Pretty excited about this beer. Pretty excited about this podcast. No puns allowed. I called it the right name.
I was waiting for it.
Also excited about my koozie. Golden Tee PGA Tour. You should get one for the holidays. Little
Plug.
I have one in my basement. It's amazing. But we will talk a little bit about that. But we have football to talk about first and foremost. Municipal, looking good. We've got like some interesting color. Yeah, you've got.
Yeah, I got a new color in this jacket. I very much love these jackets, and I text our guy being like, hey, if I could get this jacket in another color, that would be great. So, repping our friends at Municipal.
I'm wearing a summer golf shirt. It's snowing here. Don't care.
Okay.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. I am summer golf shirt. Like, it's not a seasonal thing for me. It's don't care all the time. So Municipal, lot. We'll talk game day upset too, because there's some fun upsets that have been going on over the last couple of weeks. But we appreciate our friends at Municipal and municipal.com.
And using No Punts 20 to get 20% off, guys. Come on. Can't beat it. Buy it for your friends and family.
Yeah, holidays.
You gotta start shopping early. Oh, of course I started shopping.
Have you? I have not. Which probably doesn't shock you. I have not. No. But I am ready. Like Thanksgiving, I do have some turkey updates for later in the show. Like this is the time to get moving. Christmas tree is up, though.
All right,
it's
that's
up.
Big.
Yeah, it's up. So we're getting seasonal up in here. I've watched The Grinch twice already in the last week with my kids. So in any event, let's talk some college football. We need to start in a tough spot, which is with Virginia. Obviously, this pod is silly and dumb and fun, and we try to keep it light because this is a sport we shouldn't take too seriously. But it would be weird not to at least talk about what's going on at Virginia. It's hard to even put it into words. I know their game now against Coastal Carolina, which I was looking forward to from a pure football standpoint, is canceled. You and I were talking about this last night. Do they play? Do they not? I thought the comments that from the administration was basically, we'll talk to our players, not that we'll put it in our hands and we'll consult. Clearly, they're not in a position to do it, which is completely understandable. The season might be done, which also would be completely understandable. It's terrible. Tony Elliott, watching that press conference, that's heartbreaking. So I don't know much else to say other than it's about as a horrible situation as you could possibly envision. And you hate reading this stuff. You hate reading it anywhere. You read about it way too much. But when it involves a sport that we love, it feels particularly close to home. So it's just horrible.
Yeah, and of course our thoughts are certainly with those players of first and foremost who are on that team and lost teammates, friends, basically brothers, and then also to those families who lost kids, which is just incredibly sad. And
that's horrible.
Like you said, it is just, it's one of those things as like a sport collectively, all of us were just it's hard to do your job and continue to do this. You and I have had many conversations about this with just society in general and continuing doing the show during tough weeks for us. And it is really hard. And so like you mentioned, it would be hard for us to not mention it on the show because it's certainly a part of our community and you hate to see that happen really anywhere. But
yeah, we didn't record a pod earlier this year because of gun violence, right? Not to make it political, but it is horrible. This show will be fun. We will get goofy with things, but it's hard not to at least acknowledge it. And again, Tony Elliott, one of the nicer coaches I've ever interacted with, and you could see him, you could see it pouring out of him and talking about it. I can't imagine a first-year head coach dealing with this. I know that's secondary to all the things that other people are going to. But Virginia, y'all, we are behind you in every respect. It is also, by the way, very cool to see Virginia Tech, volleyball players wearing shirts supporting Virginia.
Yeah.
Through all this, you see the connections from other coaches, staffs that have worked with Tony Elliott, right? You see this, it really does hit a lot of people in a lot of places. There's camaraderie, there is unity amid sadness, and it is really nice to see.
Yeah.
Now, we do transition awkwardly and painfully to football things. You and I recorded a a show last night. We have to talk about this. So you and I are doing a playoff ranking show with BR, which has been a lot of fun, even if all the commenters are pigs and telling you like women shouldn't be in all that shit. I am so tired of that shit.
Did you see it this week?
No, I still don't want to look. Like, it's like I can't.
I don't look back at it, but I see them when we are live, and it's very interesting. I mean, some of them are just, it's weird that people just feel the need to comment on what I look like or why I
No, don't read the comments. I learned that very early.
To be fair, though, there are a lot of very supportive people in there. Lots of people have called me out by name, mostly positive.
Yeah, no, and it's been a lot of fun. The part of this though that was funny is they do this shit every year. They do the rankings between two very interesting basketball games. And of course, the fucking basketball game goes to double overtime. Yeah. So as you and I are getting ready, I jinxed this by saying, of course, it's going to go to OT. And as we were waiting, and we waited for, I don't know, an hour?
We were in there for like an hour and 15 minutes, almost an hour and a half, sitting in like basically a waiting room of like live stream. We weren't live, but we were like behind the scenes with the producer and everything. And producer and director just listening to our conversations. And then I was watching the game on a live stream on my computer too, but it was very entertaining. But it was your fault. It was 1,000% your fault. So we didn't finish closer. We were like done.
So tired.
It was so late.
I was so tired.
Speaking
I got upstairs.
Wait, how did bedtime go? Because I know this is another behind the scenes. Adam and I do this show, and usually the rankings happen, and then we'll record the podcast after just to like keep it kind of rolling. And last night they were later, so we're like, all right, we'll record tomorrow our usual day. And then, sometimes Adam will go do bedtime and then come back and we'll do podcast. Yes. Did you miss bedtime? Did they wait up for you? What happened?
No, I missed bedtime. The kids went down. My daughter put up the biggest fight of the three, 2 boys and a girl. And she was out, so I didn't really get a chance to see her that yesterday much at all. So there was some hard bedtime feelings from the oldest of the group, but did end up in bed. And then I got a very early wake up hug this morning, like way earlier hug than I'd like a hug. But that's all right. That's part of the game.
That's so sweet.
Yes. So,
but also I will say, oldest daughters will hold a grudge. So just be careful.
Oh yeah, no. Tonight,
that's the one you got to worry about. Yeah. They don't forget, and they will hold you accountable for something you said. You said you were going to be there for bedtime.
After this, we're gonna go do some holiday Legos. Like we got that going on in the house. Okay. Maybe drink a little Bailey's. Not my daughter, probably me. No, but it was fine. So the rankings themselves, it's like a mix. Like, so they were sort of anticlimactic in a sense that we're in this weird holding pattern in one sense, and then the other hugely important. Pac-12 deep shit. Outside of USC, which we kind of knew. And I think
did we know that? Or
well, okay. We knew that after Sunday morning, we knew the Pac-12 was in deep shit. Some of us were expressing confidence. Somehow you've managed to turn me into the Pac-12 homer on this pod, which is a miracle.
Which is funny because in our live stream, people were calling me the homer for the Pac-12. And I was just saying that like USC still does have a chance and they're more likely to get in than the ACC if they win out.
You know, I was thinking about that since we did it. Their schedule sucks. It would be a shock to me if they won.
They won't.
Their next 3 games.
Well, yeah. If Clemson wins out and is a 12-1 Pac-12 champ or Pac-12 champ, ACC champ, there is no way they get in over the same for USC.
USC is going to have to play UCLA, Notre Dame, and Oregon.
The Pac-12 is the most teams ranked right now. And USC's had to play most of them. So, Oregon, you're not going to... And also, head-to-head, they're going to have the advantage because Clemson lost to Notre Dame. So, if that happens, the ACC is in the worst spot out of everyone, in my opinion. But it was interesting that people were saying that. And then, of course... so the top 4 obviously stayed the same. It was Georgia, Ohio State, Michigan, and TCU. People were really mad that TCU, that Michigan was ranked above TCU. Actually, I was looking through some of the comments, and I looked up their strength of schedule because everyone's like, TCU hasn't played anybody, and everyone's like, Michigan hasn't played anybody. TCU's strength of schedule is much harder than Michigan's, yes. But for the last half of the season, Michigan has the second ranked toughest schedule going forward.
Yeah, they have to play Iowa in the Big Ten championship game.
Which we will get to.
Again.
But, yeah.
Yes. No, so TCU is going to sort itself out, I think. And now every year we're searching for chaos. And I do think, I do think we're entering a realm where that could be possible if these teams continue to win. Georgia is obviously going to be in the playoff. There was a discussion. I wanted to bring this up because we didn't really talk about this on the, I was going to say the pod, but on the show. LSU wins the SEC, right? Mm-hmm. So LSU beats UAB, which is still a weird game, by the way. I want to talk about that game. I don't know what to do with it, even though they're like 14 and a half. Okay. Uh-huh. But so LSU beats UAB. They beat A&M. They beat Georgia. So what do you do here? So now the discussion, and I guess this discussion was happening on ESPN when we were doing our show, is Georgia's still obviously in.
Yeah.
But the general thought is that Tennessee would get in over LSU. So let's do this scenario.
Wait a minute. So the thought is that if they're a conference champion,
well,
the idea is that no matter what, because they're a 2-loss team, they're not getting in.
Well, here, I'll play it out. So Ohio State wins out, is in. Mm-hmm. Okay, Georgia loses, but is still obviously going to make the playoff. Tennessee beat LSU 40-13. 40-13.
Handedly.
And would finish with one less loss. But LSU would win the conference. I don't think that's going to happen, by the way. But we're going to do this hypothetical game. Would you have 3 SEC teams make the playoff?
No.
You don't think so?
I would leave Tennessee out. LSU is a conference champion. Here's this. Eye test wise, I do think that Tennessee deserves to be in over LSU. Okay, but in terms of like criteria that we've established for these teams and having them get in, you shouldn't. It's like LSU should be rewarded for making the title game in their conference and winning it and beating the number 1 team in the country.
I think it would create a really unique decision for the committee, which it really hasn't had.
You're not going to leave out in this situation. Does the Pac-12 and both the ACC have their champions have 2 losses?
Yes.
Okay. If those conferences have, so say USC loses.
Okay.
Okay,
likely.
And say USC loses a game, and say Clemson and or UNC loses a game. You'd have to have both of them lose a game.
Well, which is probably not going to happen.
Exactly. But
so you're going to have a one-loss ACC champ. You're going to have one, we think.
So the argument would, because the Pac-12 would override Tennessee sitting there. That's just how it's going to go. But I would say you would be looking at putting Tennessee in over a one-loss ACC champ.
And I think I think that most people watch the game would be like, yeah, you would do that.
And have 3 SEC teams in.
Ohio
State.
To be
but then
clear,
you could make that argument for Michigan, though.
For sure, Michigan would.
So then you would have to pick between Tennessee and Michigan. They're not going to do it because they would have 2 teams in that situation. I guess,
but even that is a really interesting argument. If Michigan loses to Ohio State, okay, and Tennessee lost to Georgia at Georgia, Michigan loses to Ohio State at Ohio State, Tennessee's strength of schedule is light years better than Michigan. Mm-hmm. Light years. I think Tennessee will get in above Michigan. Not light years.
I mean, if you're putting them head to head, but
I think I just want chaos, right? That's all I want.
I don't mind them making the decision, but in terms of like how they've talked about the committee, them is who I'm referring to. The way that they've set up conference champions as like such a factor in this.
I agree.
You can't just change that to get the better team in. You've set, and it should, and we have this conversation every year. Should it be the most deserving? Should it be, the teams that are the best? Okay, well, if we're going to actually make it the best 4 teams in the country, then yeah, you put Tennessee in. But the fact also, too, if you have an LSU team that beats Georgia, the argument could be, too, if you're looking at it, that that's technically one of the best 4 teams in the country right now because they beat the number 1 team in the country. They, you know what I mean, despite having 2 losses. So I don't know that they would get. I would think they would stick to conference champions, honestly, because that's what they're going to do when it expands.
Yes, no, but I love this scenario because conference championship weekend has gone way too to form in the past. Way too to form. Even Alabama beating Georgia last year simplified it a lot. And so we've had very little drama. In fact, I remember, this was a fun memory. I was at the Big Ten Championship when Ohio State kicked the living shit out of Wisconsin with Cardell Jones, which was amazing. Watching Cardell Jones warm up, and I called all my friends. Bet all your money on Ohio State. This guy's amazing. That was awesome. And there was some drama there, I think with TCU. But Ohio State was so overwhelming that they made the playoff and they won it. And so you have a scenario here, and that doesn't include, like, if TCU wins out, which it very well could, and if USC wins out, there's probably not a lot of drama to this. That's your playoff teams, I think.
No,
right?
It's Georgia, Ohio State, TCU, and USC.
And USC. Yeah, I agree. Unless Georgia loses. Let's just assume Georgia wins. But if not, it could get very weird. Tennessee is this really weird case because they have South Carolina and Vanderbilt, and they should win both those games by a lot. And they're probably going to drop like fucking 80 points in each just to be like, now what? So I just get excited. I want the committee to squirm. We only got a few more cracks at this thing to get the committee to squirm, and it looks like we may have it. But
there's going to be something that it's either going to be, you have the argument of, an ACC champ versus a Pac-12 champ getting in.
Yes.
If TCU wins out, it's going to be between those 2 conferences. Even if TCU loses and still is the Big 12 champ, you could have 3 conference champions that all have, 1 loss, and then you go down to resume, and then you probably put USC in because their resume is going to look better based on how the rankings are set up now and strength of schedule, all that. So
I feel really bad picking against TCU every week, and let's just say I'm back on my bullshit.
So here's the thing. I actually wanted to discuss this because are we not giving TCU enough credit? Like, I felt kind of bad in the chat yesterday. People were like, TCU should be 4th. This is where they deserve to be. And, like, look, I'm fine with them being there now. They're undefeated. I get it. But do I think they're one of the best 4 teams in the country? No. But they've won games, so
they've won games, and it's.
What if they just like make a joke out of all of us? Because I think every single person in media has been like, TCU is gonna lose, not if, it's when. You know what I mean? What if they actually come out of this?
Well, I think there's a good chance too, right? So you look at the schedule, which I looked at. Even their win over SMU is playing great. SMU might beat Tulane. Spoiler alert. You beat Oklahoma, who was ranked at the time. You crush Oklahoma. You win at Kansas, who was ranked. You beat Oklahoma State, who is still ranked. Win over Kansas State has aged nicely because Kansas State's playing well. Then you got West Virginia, you've got Texas State, and then Texas, obviously. None of these wins are like season-defining wins. It's a series of like gutsy, like gritty play. Which people don't like. We did this with Cincinnati last year. Remember that stretch of games where Cincinnati had against shit teams where they were like not winning by a lot? There was like 4 or 5 games in a row. Now, it's a different argument because TCU's schedule is much more challenging. But you look at that schedule still and you're like, is it that challenging?
Yeah, well, and we've done this with Notre Dame too. Like, and then they get to the playoff and they get the shit kicked out of them. So it's like, are we set? Like, I don't know.
I think TCU right now is being appropriately ranked, but I got to be honest, like this fucking point spread this week, I can't get over the fact that you have a Baylor team that just lost, 31-3 that's only a 2.5-point underdog this week. So yes, it's a little odd for me.
People are betting on them to lose. That's tough.
Oh yeah, people are betting on them to lose. Do we need to talk about Oregon? No? Good. We can just move on.
We can just talk about the fact that you were so confident in Oregon making the playoff that I told you that this was going to happen. I told you. And our last hope is USC. And I say our last hope like I really care that much, but I want there to be good football games, and I think USC would definitely make it entertaining. But I think they'd be a better matchup for some of the other teams than TCU. But
it is kind of amazing, by the way, that USC is having this kind of year that they haven't had in forever, and now it feels like we're underrating USC.
We are. We're not talking about. People were like, they're so overrated. They're so overrated.
No,
in what way? No one's talking about them. Everybody bought in on Oregon. They were like, oh, Oregon's going to be the one that's our hope for the playoff, and it's like, actually, USC is the last hope.
No, it's pretty amazing. I think Lincoln Riley is a magician. And Caleb Williams, by the way, is going to be the Drake May Caleb thing next year. Like, I am here for that. Like, that is going to be a great deal of fun when we get there. I don't want to get ahead of myself, but when we get there. Yes, Oregon sucks.
Wow, you're already putting transfer portal things out into the world.
No, they are going to stay. Well, I did was like, hey, Drake, like, Nick Saban, like, pulls up in a car full of money.
Oh, you mean like draft purposes? You mean draft purposes?
I'm talking draft purposes.
Oh, okay, I was thinking you meant like a QB battle where Drake May goes.
No, but I am all for Lane Kiffin, like, literally pulling up a Brinks truck with like a horn, like a Woody Woodpecker horn.
On,
yeah,
Drake.
yeah. I'm not doing another Woody Woodpecker impression, but just imagine that scene of him like, "Come on, Drake, get in," while he's at Auburn. I actually let's sidebar for a sec. This is not on the doc, but I have talked to some people about this, that the transfer portal, they believe, is going to be absolute fucking bonanza crazy this year. And that they think that it's like a couple of weeks away from like the season's almost over. And you've got coaches that are going to try and be hired quickly, right? Which you're already seeing. You have a coach that has been hired at Charlotte, Mr. Biff Poggi. Is it Poggi or Poggi? I have a sidebar story.
I'm not good with names.
Yes. I've known him. But I do think it's been a distraction for the playoff and the bowl season. You have like a signing day. I think the transfer portal is setting up to be fucking crazy. And I'm both excited and a little anxious about it. So prepare yourself. We are a couple of weeks away from that. And it's going to be very, very hard to follow. So just a little quick sidebar there for people that I've been talking about. That, one guy that's probably not going to leave is Mr. Harold Perkins. What the fuck?
I thought, so both of us thought that Arkansas was going to win that game. To be fair, they didn't have their starting quarterback, which is okay. But that
bullshit,
I also
by the way, bullshit.
Yeah, but I also thought their backup did a really great job, and they were in that game. But yeah, poor Arkansas just had to deal with Harold Perkins Jr., who just destroyed them in every aspect. I wanted to read through some of the stats. He had 8 total tackles, 6 of them solo, 4 sacks, 1 QB hurry, 1 pass breakup, and 2 forced fumbles.
His bend, not to get all scouty, but the way he can like contort his body,
yes,
and to get wild under tackles, it is wild.
Oh, it was entertaining to watch. I was kind of mad because obviously I bet on that game and I was pissed, but I was like, oh, stop being so good, but also, yeah, you're still going to be here for so much longer.
I mean, like, so there's Will Anderson-y vibes to him for sure.
Yeah.
And the fact that that Harold Perkins, it's such like a great, like, just a
name.
Kick-ass name. Like, yes, Harold Perkins.
Harold.
44-year-old.
Who with glasses,
family of 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, Harold Perkins. But he is like, there was a play. Oh shit, was that last week or where he's no, I think it was in Alabama where he's just running like sideline to sideline is just scary. And Brian Kelly, and speaking about him too, is just kind of like, Yeah, we knew he was good, and he's probably going to get a lot better. Like, he's not even fully, like, he's going to gain size.
Developed, yeah.
True freshman. It is wild that LSU team, by the way, their two most impactful players were not on the roster last year. And so when you think about it, like, you go get a transfer quarterback and you get a true freshman who was highly coveted that is as advertised. That is sort of the formula to win in college football right now, by the way, is recruit and hit on somebody like that and then go get a QB that will do what Jaden Daniels has done, which has been everything you could ask for and more. So, but that guy is, I think I will very selfishly say I want a defensive player to win the Heisman. It's not going to be the Will Anderson year. Thought maybe he had a chance. This is one to watch. We got two cracks at the Heisman. Can LSU put enough around him and win enough games? I know. Yes. So he is really good.
Yes.
All right. So from very good to, and I have to pull this up.
To laughable.
Okay. That's a little aggressive.
The Big Ten West.
I mean, y'all let
Sorry, you
Iowa...
can say it. You almost said it.
No.
You almost gave me the full FU page. That was great.
No. The I was gonna say fucking embarrassing. But so the funny part about this, I don't know the full tiebreaker scenarios, right? But there was a tweet that no team controls its own destiny, which is great.
Jeez,
It's like a shitty math problem, is what the Big Ten West is. So the current standings right now, Purdue, I think, is technically in front, but you have four teams that are 4-3: Purdue, Illinois, Iowa, and Minnesota. Iowa and Minnesota play this week. We will talk about that football game.
And then they play Nebraska.
And then they play Nebraska in a game that, frankly, well, Nebraska almost won that game last year, but it's just frankly. So Iowa is in a position to make the conference championship. Big Ten.
How do you feel?
Big Ten. Again, for the second straight year. So, okay, how do I feel?
And you can't fire your coach after that, so.
Kirk's going to get a raise after this. Him and his son, they're going to get raises. They're going to get statues. Actually, Kirk probably will get a statue. But they're like, no, it's it is hilarious. Okay, the Big Ten West is hilarious. I had to fill in a question for we answer Bleacher Report questions every week. Expert air quoting this for people that can't see video. Expert questions, and it's like what game outside of ranked games are you most interested in? And I put this one, and I apologize the entire time because I am so sorry. The total. Where are we at for total watch? We could talk about this now, I suppose. Yeah. It is 32.5. Now, there's some historical references that this would be one of the lowest totals in college football. In recent memory, certainly. I can't remember a total this low. I'm kind of leaning into all this. Iowa gets into the Big Ten championship game. Of course, they're going to get crushed by two teams that they already were crushed by.
Yeah.
It also would be amazing. I want this to happen very badly now.
I mean, I'm kind of down for it. For you, I think it would be kind of funny.
But what an embarrassing division. Get rid of fucking divisions.
They're going to be the last, because they haven't announced that they're taking them away, right?
Well, it's like the conferences are changing and
yeah, I was just gonna say they'll probably do it when you get USC and UCLA. But
you can't have this.
But everybody else has said all of their Power Fives are based on best teams now. Right?
Which
not
sense.
the SEC. Not
the SEC. And it'll be interesting to see how they do that. But yes, it should be based off of.
But also, if you're the SEC, you've had an Alabama team who didn't play in a championship game get in, so you don't necessarily want to change that until the playoff expands, probably.
Yeah, the playoff expansion will drive it too. I mean,
yeah.
But it is like Big Ten. You can't have this now. This last little ditty before we get into games, I'm gonna just let you take it away. I
literally wrote in the doc. I'm gonna say it. I think they need to fire Jimbo. You have the money. The money, I don't know. I know it's a lot of money, but they have
$86 million.
It's so bad. And I know they're not going to. They're gonna give him time, but they're just gonna fire him in the middle of next year anyway. Why not just do it now?
So it's $86 million. You wouldn't have to pay all that. You could negotiate a buyout down to, I don't know, 40 or 50 million.
It's gonna be the new. What was the name of the Badia? Who was it a Mets player that got paid?
Bobby Bonilla, yeah, where they're just paying him.
Yes.
Yeah, I can't believe you didn't know that. To razz me. Well, Paul Chris was owed $17 million. I think he got 10 or something along those lines. 12,
yeah, I mean
10,
they can negotiate it down, but I don't think it's going to change unless he makes a staffing change and gives up, play calling. I don't think it's going to get any better.
Well, they don't have any
They're going to have
either.
a mass exodus in the transfer portal.
See how those NIL deals are written.
Wait for it. Yeah. Those guys are gone. They can get NIL deals other places.
Well, we talked about last week too with recruiting starting to take a hit. I mean, there's some good this is wild. Like, get Lane Kiffin there. I'd love to see Lane Kiffin with this roster. Because, like, with all this offense and everything else, like, oh, my God. But if there was any program that could stomach firing someone with 85 or whatever million guaranteed.
Dollars. Exactly.
Yes. Yeah, 85 only. They'd be like, are you kidding? Like, double it.
But I feel like you could put yourself in a really tough spot because, one, if this job opens up, it'll be... I guess you could argue Auburn, but in terms of like money and what you'll get paid and resources, I think Texas A&M is probably the best job that would be open.
Oh yeah, maybe in college football. I mean, like in terms of like, let me make sure I phrase this carefully because you're already side-eyeing me. In terms of like, if you're a coach and you look at this roster, which is young and talented, assuming it doesn't leave. And then you look at this staff, which just paid a coach, or you look at this support system, I guess, that paid a coach $85 million to go away. Are you like that job would be very desirable? Like this place has got unlimited
Well, and we know that they
resources.
Do, so you might as well. But in terms of like best job, and we've discussed it at LSU. But
yes, I agree. Yeah, best is tough, but Texas A&M can do more with resources than LSU.
Yeah.
Like, they could pay a fucking coach a luxury yacht because he sucks so bad. And he sucks, by the way. Holy cow. Does he?
It's bad. And I don't think it's worth them waiting because, again, the other part of this is if you make a change, you may save some of those other guys leaving. You may get some guys that are loyal to him and decide that they're going to leave. But I think you'd be safer getting someone else new in there who's willing to make adjustments to figure it out, in my opinion.
If I had to guess, they'll keep him for a year.
I think they fire him partially through next year. Sorry.
That could be. I think though, from an OC standpoint, that's gonna you have to bring in somebody. Like you can't do this. But he still seems very reluctant in the way he talks about it to do that. Like his commentary.
Not going to. That's the problem. That's my thing. Is that would be my concern as if I was a Texas A&M alum, donor, whatever. That would be my concern as the AD. Would be that he's so adamant about not doing that.
Yeah, like
and that's
stubborn
what
as shit.
Clearly needs to happen.
Oh yeah, there is no doubt.
So basically, what you're saying is, I don't care. I'm still going to collect my check, and this is acceptable to me that we aren't even going to make a bowl.
Correct. Yes, that is. It's a disaster.
So sorry, I cut you off. Do you think they're going to keep him for a whole year next year and then do it in the off season of next year?
I think they're going to give him a chance to rectify this with a new OC attached. It is so much money even for them that they're probably tied to this for a year. And maybe they restructure the contract or something like that, right? Like, or Jimbo says, fuck off, which he could do. But it's not a good situation there at all. And yet they still have some crazy talented players there. So I think it'll be a year, and I think it'll be interesting to see who they bring in as an OC. Cliff Kingsbury, by way of example. Bring him in.
Bring him back.
All right, let's talk football games.
Okay.
So we have how would you categorize week 12? Oh, that's horrible to say out loud, week 12. This week could have been so much more. It could have been so much more. That's where I'm at with weeks.
In terms of
the Pac-12 shitting the bed. Specifically that.
I'm surprised it's taking me this long. Shout out to the Arizona Wildcats for beating UCLA. That was pretty great. I talked about it on the show that we did, the live show, even though most of those people don't know that my affiliation there. But yeah, I just want to say congrats to the Wildcats and keep it up, guys.
Oh boy. So I'll give you another couple examples of this week being odd. Bedlam is this week. I have this in my picks and pints. So I'll get to that. No one is talking about this. And this rivalry is going away because of stupid expansion, and playoff realignment, whatever.
Yep.
So that's this week. Ole Miss versus Arkansas is a very interesting game that I don't feel like anyone is talking about because Arkansas just, offensively couldn't do much. Kind of like Arkansas in this game. I don't know if this is in your picks and pints at all.
And at the beginning of the year, Texas, Kansas would have been a good one. Could have been a good one.
Yeah, now it's kind of weird, but there is some history there at least to make it somewhat interesting. We don't have UCLA and USC, either of us, correct? So we should talk about this game. Mm-hmm. Have you seen Caleb Williams' stats for the year?
Mm-mm. No.
I will read them to you because I saw this the other day. It just looks hilarious. 3,010 passing yards, 31 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, and 6 rushing touchdowns. So he has 37 touchdowns. Wait, let's make sure he doesn't have a receiving touchdown. Don't want to short him anything. No receiving touchdown. He has 37 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. That's pretty good.
I mean, if they win out and don't lose another game,
he's probably going to win the Heisman.
Yeah.
He'll probably
win the Heisman.
Yeah. Yeah, he is. Oh, let's get some odds.
To be fair, though, I always think that the Heisman should be after the playoff because basically what's going to happen is CJ Stroud should win it probably after the playoff is all said and done. But
that would not be bad for the bank account, by the way.
Same.
Caleb Williams is 12-1 to win the Heisman. CJ Stroud plus 110, Hendon Hooker plus 360, Blake Corum plus 600. Not a bad bet. Blake Corum just runs for 130 yards and 2 touchdowns every game. Drake May plus 650 and Caleb Williams plus 1,200. Caleb Williams is a pretty good bet right now.
Yeah.
I don't think USC is going to win all their games, but if they do, he's going to be.
But yeah, he's going to be what people are talking about. That's how it's going to shift, and it's going to be an easy money. We know that that's happening, sort of like Bryce.
Other games. Again, I'm going to call Week 12 just a weird week. LSU versus UAB. I don't know why I'm obsessed with this game. The point spread is only 14.5. UAB is not a bad team.
I think it's because we feel like LSU is not going to make the playoff exciting. So we're hoping, and maybe you're a little bit hoping that LSU is tested in a way that we don't necessarily expect before we get to Georgia.
There's something about that game that stinks. I wanted to take UAB in the points. And it stinks not like it's a bad game. I want to watch. It's this point spread stinks. UAB is going to keep this close. So I got to define what stinks is. Georgia, Kentucky.
Yeah, people are going to yell at you. Sorry. People are going to yell at you for the LSU is ranked number.
Yeah.
What are they, 6 or 5 now?
Again, my theme of what this week
6.
could have been. Georgia, Kentucky. Kentucky looked pretty good 5 weeks ago. Mm-hmm. This spread at Kentucky is now 22.5 points. Miami, Clemson, right? For the season. I was really looking forward to this game.
Yeah, that was going to be a good one.
Clemson minus 19, which doesn't feel like enough. It's just a strange week in college football.
It really is. But guess what?
Illinois, Michigan is another one. Illinois, 3 weeks ago, this looked like a good game. Yeah. So
watch them ruin it for us and make the Ohio State game not matter. Watch them pull in Arizona and just absolutely ruin the head-to-head matchup that we were going to have going forward.
I think that's a game that makes some sense. I mean, the
that's
totals...
That's actually possible because Illinois' defense is really good.
No, it's really good. The total in this one is 41 and a half. So there's not going to be a lot of points scored. I don't know what to make of this week. I said last night when we were doing the stream, I think college football is going to college football, but I'm having a hard time finding exactly where it's going to happen. But I think it's going to happen. So
I actually think you found it in that game. It's
a chicken shit opinion that I have.
I think Michigan might lose, now that I think about it.
Ooh. I
think
Illinois kind of packed it in, but I like your faith in that.
Enthusiasm.
Mm-hmm. You want to do picks and pints?
Yes.
I still have a little beer left. This beer, Ninja versus Unicorn, the Cryo. I mean, IPAs need to fucking calm down. But what a great can. Look at that unicorn. It's a badass unicorn. If you're listening to this on the audio version, you're missing out. So this is a good beer, though, and one of my favorites from Pipeworks, which I've done before. So picks and pints. I had a dreadful gambling week last week. I'll say that. If I'm going to brag when I have a good week, I got to own it when I have a bad week. I had a really bad week. Not good. Not a lot went right. I had a couple of picks that were just truly awful. I did have UConn against Liberty, which felt good. I wish I had them on the money line. We got to give you a shout out for your NFL parlay, by the way, before we do this.
We do.
No, this was a great. What was your parlay again?
I just was like, you know what, I'm going to take money lines and get some value on some teams that maybe just aren't expected to win this week. So I took the Packers, the Colts, and the Commanders, and I honestly, it was a Hail Mary because I was just so sick of losing that I was like, you know what? I'm just going to dabble and put, $10 on something that's stupid like this. And it paid out pretty nicely. So I was stressing. I told you this story when we were waiting for that basketball game to be over and do the rankings, but I'll share it with everyone else, is that I didn't watch the Packers and the Colts. And so I was like, I can't watch the Commanders. I don't want to jinx this by watching the Monday night game. And so I went in the other room and my brother was watching it and he had sprinkled a little on the Commanders money line too. And I could hear him reacting to things. I saw the halftime score. I knew what we were going up against. I was then at the end of it, I was on the BR app, just refreshing the little thing, just waiting for it. And I'm hearing my brother react and my mom's laughing because it's the two of us are stressing and he's coming in my room to see it. I'm I'm not watching it. I didn't turn it on. I did not turn it on. And then finally when we were in the clear, I came out and we celebrated a little. But yeah, that was a next level, just heave.
It's a great spot. Why you would put the Commanders in there?
I did it because I was okay, the Eagles have to lose at some point.
Good enough. I did lose.
You know what I mean?
That fucking ref situation. That game was wild.
Yeah, the basement. I'm sorry.
That cost me. It was
a roller coaster at the end, to be honest with you, because I was also watching the play-by-play and reading stuff, and I was penalty. I was thank God for all these penalties that don't even.
And the game ends on a walk-off personal foul, which was a personal foul. I don't know if you saw that play.
Yes, I did.
It was the right call. Dude could have slowed up, didn't, and then it just wild. Actually, as we were coming on, I saw that Heineke got named the starter full time, which he should be, not to get all NFL.
Let's go.
I'm a big fan. All right. So also game day upsets. My favorite thing of my Saturday mornings, I do two things when I get up, Paige. I tweet from the Iowa City Police Blotter. That is a tradition. I find my least offensive, most favorite. It's one of the greatest accounts on Twitter. Activities. Yes. And so I do that.
Things that are going on.
And then I go to the game day upsets and we start pulling upsets. And then I tweet a GIF back to every single request. Every single one. It actually takes a fucking ton of time. But it's worth doing. So when I do that, I've enjoyed it immensely. So we got a ton of action. We still have to pick the winners from last week, but there's been some really good upsets. So again, Municipal Clothing, it's been awesome. Post your stuff and tag us in it because we want to see what you guys are getting, and we appreciate you guys jumping in. So continue to do so. Now, let's pick some winners. We have a couple. Let's start off with some synergy. We are both on Oregon -3 versus Utah. Now, I'm a fucking Oregon homer, so I'm going to just take a step back. I'm going to let you say why you like Oregon versus Utah.
I just think Oregon's a better team. I think the loss that they had this past weekend was partially due to some, not refereeing, but, coaching decisions on not putting Bo Nix in when they should have given him time to go in and do the drive. Just some weirdness. I know he was hurt, but he seemed fine. He was jumping up and down on the sideline and ready to go. It wasn't a head issue, so, what were you doing?
Yeah, it was
but
weird.
I ultimately think that Oregon, Georgia is the better team, but I think that Oregon is the better team this week.
I don't think that Utah, dude, Penix is, that guy's legit. I can't believe that's the same guy from Indiana. And he was
he was good at Indiana, though.
He was good, but this is different. This is 15-yard completions, all day. I don't think Utah can do this to Oregon. Yeah. I still think this is a tough place to play.
Offensively, there's no way.
If this game were at Utah, it'd be different. I like Oregon in this game, too. I think Bo Nix is still hopefully healthy, going to do Bo Nix things. All right. We also... Well, no, I didn't put this on here. But this is... You have a UConn Army play, which I appreciate. In my locks, my full locks on Bleacher Report, these are picks and pints. I have a play in this game, but you like that game, which is strange that we both like this game for some reason.
Yeah, I took UConn Army over 43.5. Why not?
You. I have Army in this game. UConn, I love y'all, but we're going our separate ways. That's a bonus pick and pint. Yeah, the line in this is 10.5. It's a little bit weird. UConn football is actually going to be hungover from a win. What a weird year. Okay, Baylor +2.5 versus TCU. Look,
I'm shocked that you were betting Baylor.
This is one of the more fucked up point spreads of the year, and you know how I enjoy these. Baylor just lost 31-3. TCU is number 4 in the country.
I know.
The entire betting public is going to be all over TCU. I will not be. This is I was going to say cut my arm off if I lose. No, this is, I don't, Vegas, I'm trusting you. I am trusting you, Vegas, to goad people into betting TCU and then doing something else. The problem is this has happened with TCU all year and they've lost one game against the spread. So what am I doing? Bad.
What are you doing?
Okay, what do you have next?
I have the Ohio State Maryland under 64.5 because I'm just hoping that Maryland doesn't score.
And also, how many fucks is Ohio State going to give about this game?
None.
Get
Once
to
they
Michigan.
get up, they'll roll.
I like it. I actually do like that. Also, a little gambling advice too for this everybody out there. Check the weather this time of year, especially in games like this. By way of example, a pick. I will sub in a pick for this next one. Iowa State -3.5 versus Texas Tech. It is a high of 20 degrees in Ames on Saturday for a Texas football team that was going to want absolutely nothing to do with that. Iowa State is going to win that game -3.5. So just a little, keep an eye on the weather.
Was that in your picks and pints?
It is in my locks, and I subbed it into picks and pints for ASU. There we go. Boom.
You don't want to do that. Okay.
Yeah.
I was like, wait, I don't see that game on here. Cool. I guess the next one for me, I'm gonna go Duke +7.5 versus Pitt.
Went the other way in locks, but I get it. I understand it. Duke's had a good year, by the way.
Yeah, they have. They won me some money this year, so I'm gonna stick with them.
I'm gonna actually no. I will sub. This is a Thursday night game, so I'm gonna sub. I'm doing some picks and pints. Yeah, Arizona State +8 versus Oregon State. Feels like a weird line. I'm hoping Arizona State finds the rhythm of its rival Arizona from a week ago. Just feels like a slippery road game for Oregon State. Arizona State. I like this game a lot. I don't like the fact it was at 7.5, moved up to 8. It's all right. We're still gonna ride the Sun Devils.
That's weird. No, I'm just kidding.
Yes, I know.
I mean, I'm talking about gross football games. I'm gonna take Boston College Notre Dame's over 44 points. You want to know why I'm doing this? Because Notre Dame's gonna take a lead, and then they're gonna let Boston College come back and make it close, and there's gonna be a lot of points scored. That's happened so many times. Notre Dame, stop doing it. Stop.
It does happen though. They're like the TCU, but not undefeated.
So I'm thinking that that's what's going to be the case this week too.
All right, my last one is Bedlam. Oklahoma -7 versus Oklahoma State. Have you seen the historical reaction on this game? Like, it is it is wild. Like, Oklahoma has a 90 to some sort of very small number advantage. I was just looking it up. I know Oklahoma State is ranked. They've subbed in their quarterbacks. Oklahoma is bad. Doesn't matter. Oklahoma is going to make a statement in this game. This is basically their Super Bowl because their season has been terrible. Oklahoma is going to win this game by a lot. All right. Okay. Random shit.
What
do you got?
I'm going to let you... I did have a little bit of a rant, but honestly, I don't know if you saw the New York Times article about Livy Dunn and her NIL situation. But basically what happened is the New York Times came to Livy and said, Livy, you're the highest paid, athlete that makes NIL money. We're going to do a story on you. Turns out the story was that sex sells, and that there was a comment made by Stanford's women's basketball coach that things like this are moving women's sports backwards. And it just became this and making comments about how she posts pictures in bikinis and things like that. And it just really bothered me because, for me, what's moving women's sports back is women making comment on what other women should be doing and how they can be female or a female athlete. That's what's setting it back, not somebody who's making millions of dollars off it. She should be able to make millions of dollars off whatever she wants to make millions of dollars off of. And she's also a very competitive athlete. So she's good at her sport as well. So I think it just bothered me that whole situation they put her in was, hey, we're doing a story on you. And I'm sure she's thinking, great, I'm going to be in the New York Times. And it became a man writing this article and then quoting a female saying, a very prominent female figure in women's sports, saying that it's setting women's sports back because she's making millions of dollars in NIL money, which is...
amazing.
Just ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yes, which is good for her.
Good. Well, that's, as a man jumping into this conversation, it's, if she's happy and she's making money, who gives a shit? Who is, man, women, or otherwise, who are people to say what is setting sports back?
Exactly. It's just not appropriate to be saying what a young woman should or shouldn't be doing. It's not your decision. Just because it's something you wouldn't do doesn't make it wrong.
No, I agree. That's...
So sorry. That was my very serious rant that I had this week that I was bottling up, and I've just been so mad about it rant. Because it's frustrating. It's who cares? Why do you care?
No. Also, millions in NIL money?
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Get the money.
She had millions of followers on social media. It's she also is a content creator. It's not like she's just one thing and making that money because she's just an athlete. She was a creator before that. So people just will find anything to yell into the abyss about. Exactly. Yes. Good for Livy Dunn. So we're Team Livy Dunn on this podcast.
I just team get money. Without sounding like a pig about it, by the way. I have to walk this very delicate line of hell yeah. Do whatever you want in the bikini photos. There's a real place people are listening to this yeah, the guy on this podcast wants her to keep. Yeah, that makes sense.
No, the female on this podcast would like her to keep doing it.
Well, thank you for allowing me to be a pervert, I guess.
Yeah, whatever you're comfortable with, do. Who cares? Stop telling people they can't do that. I mean, we have this conversation around Paige Sporanic a lot, but to have it happen to a college athlete that they targeted basically for a story and lied to her essentially.
Paige Spearneck, I played a Golden Tee game with Paige at the PGA Merchandise Show. Yes, I was very nervous. She was super nice.
She's putting the Paige name in great graces. So I really,
oh my God, she knows her brand and her content perfectly. Like,
and she's actually really funny.
She's very funny. Oh, she was so nice.
Yeah.
It was hilarious. They walked up with cameras. It's like, well, teach Paige how to play a game of Golden Tee, which, like, okay. But then I was nervous, and I don't normally get camera shy. I was like, fuck. There's like, she has a lot of followers. This could be really bad. But yeah, no, back to your original point. Man, win women. Otherwise, just get money and do whatever the hell you want. Don't listen to bozos on the internet. Now, to completely change gears, I want to talk about the dumbest TV show on TV right now, which is The Curse of Oak Island. Have I ever talked about this show?
No.
This is purely nerd. You will don't care. So, do you know what Oak Island is? Like,
no.
It's this island in Nova Scotia. This is real. It's a treasure hunting show on the History Channel. That crazy shit has happened there. And it's their 10th season, and it started last night. Okay. It's all these goobers, these rich goobers that go, and they're digging for gold. Now, they've found some amazing shit. They found crosses from like 1500 and stuff. So there's some really odd shit that happens, but they never actually find treasure. But I can't quit this show. Like, I can't.
Have you watched all 10 seasons?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, in fact, I think I found it originally during COVID, and it was like 7 or 8 seasons, and they're an hour each, and there's like 28 episodes per season. And I was like 4 a.m. watching a shitty treasure hunting show. But I love this show. I do. I love this show. And it's yeah, you're ranting for something meaningful. I'm ranting for something for shitty treasure hunting.
There is always one point in every show where you say something that just makes me laugh so hard, and I can't keep it together. Normally, I'm pretty professional. Even in our live streams, I'll keep it together. But for some reason, it's just always on this show, you find something.
Well, I know, too. Like, my wife hates this show, and I watch it at night, like when I'm winding down. So literally last night, I finished writing at like 11:30, and I put it on. She's like, "Oh, Jesus, this shit is back." And I'm like, "Oh, it's back." Like, treasure hunting. Oh, and she's asleep in 2 minutes because it's so boring. But
yes,
Curse of Oak Island. I missed you. I'm gonna let you
rant, but I remembered another one that I have.
Okay, this is a quick one. Next week we are going to talk Thanksgiving. We're going to record a little early. We will talk Thanksgiving. We will find Thanksgiving like themes to do and talk about food. You know I love to cook turkeys, so the thawing of the turkeys has officially started as of today. If you've not bought your turkeys, like, think about it. There's a turkey shortage. Peanut oil, if you're going to fry your turkeys, get that goddamn peanut oil. I bought mine like 3 weeks ago. Just prepare accordingly. Like, Thanksgiving is lost now. Don't lose Thanksgiving.
I can't wait to discuss this next week because I've got something that's probably going to crush just your absolute heart to hear how I'm doing Thanksgiving. But
I already know where this is going, but I don't want to talk about it now. But fine.
Another rant is Ticketmaster is my sworn enemy because I can't get Taylor Swift tickets. So if anyone would like to invite me, and actually your neighbor Jason, his wife got tickets, and I need you to figure out that situation of, you know what, maybe we just like send his sister-in-law somewhere else so I can go to the Taylor Swift concert.
That's fair. Just a little saboteur job.
Yeah.
But so when you were on trying to get tickets, was it just the site broken?
No, it's basically you had to be selected to get a pre-sale code. Okay, and I didn't get that, and then I had somebody who did, and then when you get in there, it's just literally you just sit in there for hours upon hours upon hours. And like I even looked, it's the worst like ticket situation I've ever like done, and I've done a lot of sporting event ones. I tried to get, I looked into what the price would be for the Formula One Grand Prix in Vegas next year. And I sat in a queue with like that had the same thing where it said 2,000 plus people, and it moved like relatively quickly. I was only in it for like probably 30 to 45 minutes before it actually let me look at the prices and pick tickets. The Taylor Swift one just like went on forever and never and never, and then crashed, and there was like issues. Then you have to hop back in. It was just no bueno. But the thing is the pre-sale code, and getting the pre-sale code and being able to buy them was the issue, the main issue, because you got like waitlisted. I actually didn't get waitlisted. I just
does she not do tour a lot? Like, does she not go on tour?
No, she hasn't toured in a really long time. And I've never actually been to one of her tours because I didn't fully embrace the Taylor Swift thing until later. But she hasn't toured since her Reputation tour, I think. Taylor Swift fans are going to come for me. But,
I'm sure that's really strongly in our demo here.
Well, you'd be surprised.
You know what? You're probably right. They're probably going to come for me for saying that now.
Yeah, exactly. You'd be surprised. If you're a Taylor Swift fan and you listen to this podcast, please tweet at Adam Kramer and at that sports page.
Yeah.
Yeah, she hasn't done it in a while, and this is like a combo of all. It's like called the like Eras tour, I think. And it's like all of her albums combined because she's redoing all of her albums, re-recording all of them. Because her masters were sold to somebody else. Yeah, she's re-recording all of them. You didn't hear all this drama?
No, man.
Basically, there's drama of the fact that, like...
I mean, that's where I'm at. Like, let's be honest. Like, it's like...
That's where I'm at. Right. Anyway, there's this whole drama about her masters, and she's recording all of them. So everything that says Taylor's version is a re-recorded version of the song she had already put out, but she would now own the rights to those ones and make money off of those.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, so she's re-recording all of them slowly but surely based on like dates and contracts and all of that stuff. But this is like her Eras tour where she's gonna go through a lot of the music and do different albums too.
I don't listen to a lot of her music, but I just know like if I'm if you're an ex-boyfriend, you're toast, right? Like it's bad.
Yes, but actually, the latest album that she released is called Midnights, and she kind of like roasts herself in it, and it was probably one of my favorite albums that she's done because she's taken aim at a lot of people who have done her wrong and, you know, been very open about that these songs are, you know, a reflection of things that she's been through and the people that she's encountered. Not even just like boyfriends, like ex-friends, all of those kind of things, situations, things like that. But I would say this last album that she released, like definitely she took accountability for a lot of the things where there's one of them that she literally says, "Hi, I'm the problem, it's me." Where she like kind of takes responsibility for the behaviors and the things that she contributed to those sort of things. So I appreciated that.
It's about time. Like 12 albums later. I mean, like, you know, like... And about
You're going to get Taylor Swift fans coming for your neck. I used to really not be that big of a fan of her. I liked her music, but I didn't like that side of it. But then I understand being like a woman in that industry. And then, your whole life being people discussing your love life and having opinions on what you should and shouldn't do. Sort of like we talked about before. So no, I appreciate her now. And I mean, she's an incredible artist.
I'm in awe at her seemingly breaking the entire ticket system. Whether you agree with the ticket system or not, I think it's cool that she can like literally do that. Like you're just in awe of the response of people. Like that's great.
The people that follow her and are like major Swifties, like you just don't want to cross
Swiftie?
them.
That's the name?
Swifties? Yeah. Swifties.
Oh boy. You better stop talking because I'm gonna get in continued trouble.
Yeah, you don't want them coming for you.
No, that's pretty much it. I think yes, go ahead.
Early pod next week.
Yes, early pod. Fun week. We got Michigan, Ohio State. We've got Turkey.
Games.
Next week is definitely a wine week. I think our Thanksgiving episodes are like, there's gonna be some booze.
We're gonna have to record after the playoff ranking.
Oh shit! Yeah, we have to work.
Yeah. So I was thinking we wine after that and do the pod on that day.
Yes. So playoff rankings, pod. I think that's the way to do it. Because at least there's not a ridiculous college basketball game that we have to wait for to finish. Thank God.
You're just going to jinx us. Well, for Paige and Adam, thanks for listening, per usual.
Cheers.